All righty, boys and girls. Today, what we're going to work on is summarizing fiction. So we're going to do a 5-finger rule. Somebody wanted, but so then. All right. Somebody is the main character. What did the character want? But what was the problem in the story? So how did the character try to solve the problem? And then how did the character actually solve the problem? All right. So before we continue, we're going to watch a video on that. And all right, class. So somebody wanted something, but so how did the character try to solve the problem? Then what? All right, how did they try to fix that problem? So we've read chapters 1 and 2 of My Teacher's an Alien. And I'm going to pull up our graphic organizer from last week. When we talked about summarizing fiction, we did chapter 1. And here, Susan is the main character. She's the somebody. She was interested in a play for 6th grade. And she wants her teacher back. But the problem is that she now has a new teacher. And they're not going to be able to act a class play. All right. So how does she respond? She was in shock. And then she spoke out loud. And then how did she try to solve the problem? So we found this in chapter 2. How she tried to solve the problem. She actually asked politely. She asked politely what happened to her teacher, about what happened to her teacher. And then also, she writes a note of doom to her friend about her new teacher. She writes a note of doom to her friend about their new teacher. Excuse me. All right, so now I'm going to use this graphic organizer to help me summarize the text.
You're on the
Here,
wrong thing.
so here, right here is, thank you very much. Here, right here is our graphic organizer that we are working on today. All right, and so here is a frame for me to use. You may or may not use it to do your writing, but if you need help, you know, this is right here for you. You just want to make sure that you're including like all the different parts of the rubric. And here's the rubric. You want to introduce the title, author, the genre. All right. You also want to talk about the challenges and the problems that the author faced. You want to describe how your character, the main character, responds to this challenge. Then explain how the story is resolved. All right. We've only read 2 chapters, so we don't really know what happened in the end. But so far, how did this character try to resolve the problem? All right. And who would I recommend this book to? There are 5 points here, and each of these categories is a point, weighs a point each. All right. So you're going to make sure we use this rubric to help us guide our writing and our summary. And the beautiful thing is, we already last week on Thursday, we already went ahead and then filled out all of that information here in this graphic organizer. So I'm going to have this graphic organizer and I'm going to use it to help me write my summary. All right. So I'm filling out the different parts I read, and I'm going to write my book title here. And I always want to make sure that it's underlined because it's the title of the book. I read my teacher is an alien. Excuse my typing. For some reason. And the color level is orange. Because it starts with an O, I'm going to change that from A to N. An orange level book. And the author of this book is Bruce Coville. All right. So I'm going to write his name here. Bruce Coville. Right. And then the main character, I'm going to state what the main character wants. So her name is Susan Simmons. So what does she want? She actually wants her former teacher back so they can have a play. All right. Susan wants her former teacher back so they can have the school play or the class play. So that's what she's trying to achieve. But the problem here, the problem that she's facing is, but she now has a new teacher. A new teacher. His name is Mr. Smith. All right. So how does she respond to this problem? So she blots out in class about where her old teacher is, former teacher is, which gets her in trouble. And she got reprimanded for that. So what did she do then? Then she raised her hand up. Then she raised her hands up and asked politely about what happened to her former teacher. Her former teacher's name is Miss. If I spell this right. I need to get her the spelling of her name.
We can't see what you're doing.
You can't see what I'm doing? I'm sorry. Thank you. All right, so she asked what happens to Miss Schwartz. There was something else that she did. And she also wrote a note of doom about Mr. Smith. He also wrote a note of doom about Mr. Smith. All right, and so this book will appeal to, what audience will this book appeal to? It would appeal to people who have had problems in class before, or maybe somebody who feels like their voice or their feelings are not being heard. Feel like their voices are not being heard, maybe by adults. How sometimes you're saying something and it seems like no one is listening, are not being heard by adults. And why do I think that? This is because it's about Susan, who's wanting her teacher back, but nobody seems to be paying attention to her. Because it's about Susan, who wants her teacher back, wants her former teacher back. But none of the adults in school are listening to her or even giving her a reason why her teacher left, or giving her a reason for why her teacher left, period. All right, and there goes my summary. Somebody wanted, but so then. And so we're also going to do the same things. We're going to pick up our books, continue reading, finish filling out our graphic organizer if we didn't, and then do a short summary on what we've read on so far. All right, somebody who the main character is, what the character wanted, what problems did the character face. All right, how did the characters try to solve the problem? So the characters tried to solve the problem, and then what happened in the end.